Okay, this week in reading, it's going to be maybe challenging for a few people, but I think if you watch the video carefully and do exactly as you're instructed, you should go no dramas. So as we know, well, you don't know, as you know, obviously, because you would have already watched the learning video, you know that we are working on prediction this week. So I've got to find our week 5 reading. There she is. Week 5 reading. Now, the first day it will look like this, okay? Because then you copy and paste that and you move it on. Every other day, I'll already copy and paste it in there for you because as you do the work, I'll keep giving you new stuff. Now, this setup will be pretty much similar for most of it. The only change will be when you pause in the middle, okay? Now, you've got to really look at this, and I'll explain why you need to after. So, what we need to do is we're going to obviously read a book and we're going to do the predicting like we looked at. So you can either click straight on that or I'm just going to copy the link address so I can open up a new tab. And unfortunately, we've got to put up with ads, which is a bit of a pain, but we can skip them beautifully. All right, so the book that we're reading is Good Night Already. Now, we have to make predictions based on that front cover. So we have a look at that front cover. And we go, okay, we'll go back to our document. Now, we can paste this down below because that is what we need to do. So Control C, head on down, Control V. All right, look at the front cover and make 2 predictions and why. Okay, so I've looked at the front cover. I've got my video up here as you can see, and I'm going to predict. Okay, I think that bear and duck are friends. Okay, so that's my one prediction. I think this because they are standing next to each other. Okay, so that's my one prediction and why. My second prediction, I think that, well, I reckon either one of them has to get grumpy because judging by because if you have a look, because a good night already and they've got that exclamation mark, so I'm predicting one of them gets grumpy. And we all know a grumpy bear, so I'm going to predict the bear gets grumpy. I think that the bear gets grumpy. I think this because of the title. Okay, so now you can put those in a different color so they don't get confused. Totally up to you. So I'll put them in a different color so I know that they're on there. And you could even number them if you really wanted to. So you can have 1, and then this one here could be 2. All right, so that's a start. So at the beginning, we can look at the front cover and make 2 predictions and why. So these are my 2 predictions. I think that bear and duck are friends. I think this because they are standing next to each other. And number 2, I think that bear gets grumpy, and I think this because of the title. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to go back and look. Now, you've got to pay careful attention here because it says I'm going to make another prediction at 1 minute 56. Okay, so you've got to pause it at 1 minute 56. So what you do is you watch it. Now, I'm not going to sort of bore you and that. I've already sort of looked at the book. But so, for example, when it reaches a minute 56, nearly there. So you see down there the time there, minute 54. All right, so minute 56. See that there? So I've got to pause it. Now, you would have read the book. Now, I've already read it, so I'm not going to waste your time. Now, two predictions that I made from that. Okay, I think that duck will keep trying to do things with bear. So it says here, what do you think will happen and what evidence have you used? So the evidence is the stuff in the book. I believe this because he keeps coming and waking it up. All right, so that's my first one. My second prediction that I think will happen. Well, obviously now I reckon I'm correct in that the bear gets grumpy because he's the one that's getting woken up. So I think the bear will get angry and throw Duck out of his house. Now, the evidence that I'm using here is because all Bear wants to do is sleep, whereas Duck just keeps waking him up. So the evidence is that Bear keeps wanting to sleep and Duck keeps waking him up. Right, so there's my two. So then now what I do is I go back to the video and I watch it till the end, and then it's almost a prediction of what do I think will happen next. Because on most stories, it could always be a different ending. So what I do is we'll click play, and as I said, once I've already read this book. All right, so that's the end of the book. So you've gone and obviously watched that. Then you go back to the end. What do I think will happen next? I think that Bear will now go over to Duck's. Better get the apostrophe there. There's a duck owns it. Duck's house to wake him up because he is now wide awake. So that's a prediction that I'll think that possibly will happen next in the story, because in the book, obviously the bear is now wide awake, and that's what I think will happen. He'll just go there and he'll start annoying Duck. Okay, so and then you just talk about where your prediction's correct. Why do you think they were correct? Why weren't they correct? Okay, so yes, I thought they were correct because, and that yes, they were correct. And I reckon I looked at the pictures really well, or whatever it is. So, so here's my. I'll put my predictions in different color so I know again. So there. Do that in. Oops. So highlighting that so I know exactly what work I've done. Gone and done that. And now I'll go predictions correct. So let's have a look. So yeah, Bear and Duck are probably. I don't think they're friends, but they're definitely neighbours. So I was probably off on that one. The bear gets grumpy. Well, yep, he does. He does get grumpy, so I was correct there. I think that Duck will keep trying to do things with Bear. So yep, so I was definitely correct with that one. Bear will get angry and throw Duck out of his house, which is what he ended up doing. Now, hopefully, I don't know whether I'll be correct in that one. So the one that I wasn't really correct on was the Bear and Duck are friends. They're not really friends; they're just neighbours. So I'll just sort of talk about this. I was able to get all but one correct. The one I predicted wrong was that they were not really friends, but just next door neighbours. I think that I predicted well because I was able to use the events in the story and look at the pictures. Okay, so there is my summary of why I thought I was correct and why I wasn't. So that is our reading task for this week. Okay. Now, some of these questions will slightly change, and obviously the pause will change depending on what book we're doing. Okay, it's not going to be the same pause. So you've got to really pay attention to where it asks you to pause, because I've asked you to pause at that moment for a specific reason, because you can make good predictions from that point on, because there's been some good events happen. Okay, so we focused on events last week, bit of cause and effect. This week we're going to say, okay, let's predict from those events that we had a look at identifying last week. So this is what it'll look like. Do it in a different color. There's my predictions there. There's my predictions again, there again, and there's me summarizing and reflecting on how my predictions went. Okay, so that is this week's reading activity. Once again, if you have any issues, just go back and double check the video. But other than that, it should be pretty smooth sailing. As I said, the easiest way is to open up 2 tabs, so you can just keep going from one to the other. Because if you just click on the link, you'll get out of the DB. So I would suggest that you copy it and then create 2 tabs. That's a lot easier for you to work with. So yeah, have fun with that this week.